birds singing in the dead of night. Take these broken... All my life, I've treasured swimming as a time to relax and meditate. As a morbidly obese woman, being weightless in water feels amazing. On land, I'm a lumbering mass of arthritic joints. Imagine how you would hurt if you were carrying the weight of another person while you walk or climb stairs or roll over in bed. But in water, my spine stretches and my body relaxes into waves of joy. I weigh 466 pounds. But I wasn't always this way. I was a normal-looking kid. I ate what I was fed, canned vegetables and Southern fried everything. And like most kids, I spent most of my allowance on candy. I sprouted up so quickly, my mother became concerned. Dieting started in 7th grade when she took me to a pediatrician who prescribed uppers to help me slim my 138-pound, 5'8" figure. My weight fluctuated 10 pounds up and down, and Mom fussed endlessly, forcing me to attend Weight Watchers. Sometimes I'd eat just to make her mad. It was about who had control over my body, her or me. When I was 15, Mom developed breast cancer. In 1970, the word breast was unmentionable, so having breast cancer was shameful. We rarely talked about it to others, and I resented friends who had healthy mothers. I loved Mom deeply, and I didn't want to upset her, so I stopped arguing about food. I ate fast food secretly in my car, and as Mother's body withered away, my body expanded. Mama never had weight problems. She was a slim 5'10" tall and looked like a fashion model. She had a beloved older sister, Catherine, who was only 5'1" tall and about 5'1" in the bust. Catherine was embarrassed about her bust size, and she took scissors to photos to cut the breast out as if they didn't exist. As Mom's cancer progressed, Catherine would drive down from Tulsa to help my dad and I nurse her. The last time our family celebrated Mama's birthday at a restaurant, she cried and begged me to lose weight so I would find a husband to support me for life. That planted a seed in my mind that persisted for decades. I wanted so badly to please her. Mother died on my 20th birthday. Mourners brought 8 birthday cakes. Most people can't eat when they're grieving, but not me. I needed to be strong for my dad, and eating helped me not to cry. But I missed my mommy, and I felt like a lost little girl. I leaned on Aunt Catherine for strength, and before she returned to Tulsa, she held me very tightly, and she said, "I love you, every pound and every inch." After this, I became fiercely independent. I earned 2 degrees, I traveled the world, and I even sang at Carnegie Hall with the Dallas Symphony Chorus. All the while, I continued to diet and gain, and diet and gain. First, it was 50 pounds overweight, then 75 and more. There were boyfriends, 2 of whom I hoped to marry. First was Bobby, who quit his job and skipped town without telling me. I found out on Christmas Day. Then there was Jimmy, who talked about marriage even though he rarely touched me. He said, "When you lose weight, I won't be able to keep my hands off of you." And after I lost 75 pounds, he said, "I'm not walking down the aisle with you until you're a size 13. Each time there was a romance failure, I imagined my mother's look of disappointment. Her prophecy was coming true. I turned to Aunt Catherine for advice. She wrote monthly letters of encouragement, and in each letter she ended it with, "I love you, every pound and every inch." She repeated these same words when we hugged goodbye at the end of each trip. There was something healing in her declaration, knowing she accepted me in a way that my mom never did. In the scorching summer of 2005, I was 50 years old and weighed 450 pounds. While driving to the YMCA for a much-needed swim, I was listening to an audiobook by Houston pastor Joel Osteen. He said, "You should never speak words of shame to someone who has authority over you. Speak positive words that build up and encourage your children." These words unleashed a fury inside me that had been dormant for decades. Like a bratty teenager, I yelled, "Yeah! Listen to this, Mom. You told me I was fat and unlovable. This rattled in my mind over and over. I've made your words come true." In the parking lot, I tried to pull myself together. I told myself, just go swim. Minutes later, with hot tears in my eyes, a tight throat, I donned my mask and goggles and jumped in the pool and splashed my frustration into noisy waves. The adrenaline made me stronger and faster, screaming underwater, stroke after stroke. It took 5 laps before my mind calmed down. And then Mother spoke to me, saying, "Oh, honey, your 20th birthday was also my birth date in heaven. God showed me how I hurt you. So for 30 years, I've been telling you how I love you through your Aunt Catherine. When she wrote letters that ended with 'I love you,' every pound and every inch, my hand covered hers and guided her pen. And with every hug goodbye, my words were on her lips. Didn't you know?" I had an instant meltdown, crying so hard, my mask fogged over and my nose filled with snot, and I almost drowned myself. Struggling to the end of the lap lane, I laid my head down and just bawled. So many years of anger lifted instantly. I was loved and accepted. How sad it took so long for me to warm my heart to hearing these words. I forgave my mother and asked her forgiveness of me. 3 weeks later, after 20 years of not trusting men, I took a heart-pounding risk and asked my wonderful and hilarious swimming buddy, Terrence, out on a real date. On our 3rd date, he said, "I love you, Jeanne, and you don't have to lose 1 pound or 1 inch for me to love you more." I smiled up at Mom. Our friendship turned to deep love, and we were partners until cancer took him as well 2 years later. It might be a short time to be in love, but for me, it was enough. These 2 events changed my life forever, but they didn't solve my weight issues. Being morbidly obese is complicated. It involves the chemicals in my brain, the obesity gene, IRX3, my using my food addiction to calm anxieties, and the result of 33 yo-yo diets, including bariatric surgery. It's very difficult to live in this body. I'm in constant pain and I use a wheelchair, and it's also really hard on those who love me. I might die younger than most. But I finally stopped dieting, and I'm maintaining my weight. Otherwise, I'd be well on my way to 600 pounds, I'm certain. My life is very rich. I no longer harbor anger towards my mother, and I learned to trust men. But the most important thing I learned was to love myself just as I am. Every single pound and every single inch.